Hey everyone. Good night. Welcome to this special edition of art stream. I might not get to draw tonight. This might run a shorter stream than usual Monday streams are. I have something I have to do in like hour or so, like a previous engagement, some family stuff. But I will try to get through as much things as possible in order to make the stream, this feedback stream, as timely as possible. I made notes on some of them so that we can move forward quickly. And I will try to get things done properly, and hopefully you get some decent feedback. A few caveats with tonight's stream is that I am not an expert. I'm trying to the best of my abilities in my current knowledge to like help other artists out. Another thing that's important is that what was the other thing? You can take or leave whatever feedback I give you. You could totally just not listen to whatever I have to say. That's totally viable. This is only a critique and feedback. This is not like you have to do this. This is just, I'll try to be constructive, and you can feel free to take all my criticism, do whatever you want with it. Go to a different artist and ask them, hey, is this valid, or do whatever. Usually you want to ask more than one person for feedback. But yeah, just getting that out of the way, let's go to the media room so we can get started. Also, hi, Vitality. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing all right tonight. I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone had a good start to their week. I need to check who's here. So on top, I have a few people that submitted. So we have Tony, Japan, Lucho, and Iñari, who all submitted. Hey, Abby. Hey, Japan. Okay, so I am going to start with Japan because he's the first one here. And so I am going to go ahead and just explain. Okay, so let me see. Japan is over here. Oops. Okay, I need to. Okay, so let's take a look at the drawing first. Very good drawing. I like it. It's very cute. Yeah, I shared it on the server, and I shared it on my Twitter multiple times. But yeah, maybe for next time. So very cute drawing. Very cute boy. I like it a lot. Very meaty. So I'm gonna move into the positives. The way I'm going to do this is that we're gonna look at the drawing first. Just everyone can comment whatever they like or whatever. And then I'm going to start with positives, things that I found positive with the drawing, and then I'm going to move on to critique it. Other artists, I know there's an artist that I follow that she kind of just will never say any positive. She will just go straight to murdering your piece. But I like to just bring out positives and stuff that people have done right, that they maybe can reinforce or keep an eye out that they're doing good. Just to build some positive reinforcement. That's just the way I do things when I teach in general, like whether it's like English or Spanish or whatever. Like try to be positive. So the positives. Let's see here. Okay, so positives. Excellent lighting. I like the effect that you have here. This is very nice. I don't normally do it properly, but you nailed it. You're pretty good. You have defined the forms properly with the lighting, especially on the face. You've done a good job. Let's see. Yeah, and like the lighting is very nice. I like the textures that you have on the clothing. It's very good. Very good. The choices of colors is nice. They all blend together very good. Let's see what else. You got an understanding of musculature over here. That's very good. You even deformed the lighting here. This, not so much, but we'll talk about this in a second. Again, I really like the way that you did the face. It's very good. A lot of people just render light on the face very flat, and you're doing a good job of understanding the face structure and everything. But again, we can push this a little more. The general body shape is okay. There's some things that can be improved as well. So yeah, I will move on to the critique. So let's see. Let me go ahead. Okay. So, critique. This is one thing that I've noticed with a lot of artists. That I've noticed with a lot of artists, especially beginner ones. The lines are really scratchy, and depending if you want to go for the scratchy effect, it's nice, but it's usually distracting, and it will never help you. It doesn't really help you define things properly, because you're going to be correcting a lot. Usually, if you're like doing a sketch and you have it very scratchy, when you go to line it or do cleanups, it's going to make it harder for you to actually define. Unless you're painting over it, then it's different. But this is one thing that you need to nip it in the bud early on. Your lines need to be more confident. So where's my pen? Okay. So what I mean by this is that when you do lines, I'm gonna redline it. Okay. When you do lines, you want the lines to be one stroke. So I'm gonna use this. You want the lines to be one stroke. You don't want to. It's not a good example. Okay. Here, let me do this. You want your lines to be one stroke, right? It's fine if you do like, but try to keep it as little strokes as possible, because then it's better for you in the long run. It doesn't matter if you have to do Control-C 700 million times. Do it as many times as possible, erase as many times as possible, but try to not have this, because it usually shows that you're not confident in your lines. And it's very distracting. It's because here's the problem with scratchy lines. The face is really good, right? It's well defined. Let's zoom in. There's no scratches, and then everything else is scratchy, and it's very distracting. It takes away from everything else. And it's well rendered, and so again, that's another problem. It's not. It's very distracting. So you need to be careful. Some things that I like to do. Here's an advice. Do you want to see? Usually I take. I used to do like an hour a day of these. So you see these cubes. I would. If this morning I couldn't warm up on my iPad, I forgot to charge it. So what I did instead is that I grabbed this pen. The pen doesn't matter. Usually you want to pick one that's just like, there's no change in density or anything. That's just like flat. And you want to go ahead and you want to do this exercise. You want to go ahead and do this. 1, 2, 3. And avoid having this happen. So you want to do this exercise. It's geometry, it's simple, but it helps you build line confidence because you're doing strokes. Now, you can always go bigger and try to use your entire arm when you're doing these. Just do these. I also do these circles. You have to try and not have this happen though. You need to circle them. You need to try and circle these as much as possible. Get as good as you want. And you see, these aren't perfect. I need more practice. I lack a lot of practice. And so try to go in one direction, like do it counterclockwise if you're a righty, and then, try and do it in both directions. So try to build line confidence. Find as many exercises as there are out there and do them, all of them. Because it's important that you build line confidence now when if you're starting out, or but you don't want to tend to your lines later on. Work on them because this you're at a very good level because you're pretty, like I've talked to you before, you're very young and you got talent. You need to stop doing this. This is not okay. Not anymore. If you're starting out, then it's fine. But you need to start building line confidence. Don't do chicken scratches. Stop doing that. Unless it's on purpose. Like, let me show you. Like, the only way I would, this is my opinion, but the only way chicken scratches are kind of acceptable is if it's part of the drawing that you're trying to make. Like, if it's intentional. For example, let's say you have a manga panel, and you have this, like, this guy. Let me make the lines there. So maybe you have this, and watch that I'm not doing like, I'm doing like full strokes. And then you want to do, don't do it. Don't do this. Do this. Full strokes. And then you have something like this. You know, it's part of the effect. In that case, you would have something like that. You know, in this case, you know, you have a manga panel that you're supposed to have this effect, then it's fine. But if you're trying to just make a full drawing or whatever, again, this is distracting. Don't do this. It also looks, you know, if you want to start, you know, getting better and stuff, this is kind of like, you know, looking at your drawings and everything, this is already like way, you know, way below you. You need to start getting this right. Don't do chicken scratches. Work on that. So let's see. Again, let me erase that. This is a problem. Okay. Something that I'm noticing in this particular drawing, the ears are angled weirdly. You have the face facing forward. He's looking forward, right? Maybe just his face is slightly angled, but every feature on his face is looking forward, and you have the ears angled as if he was in 3/4. So this is wrong right off the bat. The ears are pointing this way, and we can't have that. Another thing that this is more specific to you, having seen a lot of your drawings. The way you draw anatomy is, it's not bad, like entirely bad, it's very good, but you sort of kind of like squish the anatomy, so you'll have some characters that look tall, but they also look short at the same time. And so say you have like, so let me explain something. The body, your torso, I think the problem that you have is the torso or the core. Usually tends to be very weird. Not entirely weird, it's just the way that your body is distributed is kind of like you're squishing them instead of letting the body just extend naturally. So this I will show you what I mean in a second. Another thing that's important to note that a lot of artists neglect is tangents. What are tangents? Tangents are, let's say you have, if I have to explain geometry to you guys, that's fine. This is a tangent where a straight line means this, and geometry is that. But tangents are also where two lines just meet, not perpendicularly, but they meet in an awkward position, like in here, where you have this. This is weird because it looks like the line is doing this instead of like just doing that. And and you need to pay attention when you. I do that a lot, and I have that corrected often, so it's fine. It happens to everybody, but you need to be careful when you're doing your lines or your sketches that you're not doing this, having two lines meet up. Ideally, you want to have this and then that. Let me use a different color so you get it. Ideally, you want to have that and not this, because then this is weird. It's not a big problem, but it jumps out to me because I do it often, and I try to correct it on my own. This is too indented. I know what you're going for here, but it's because the arm is like this. You're doing a bit too much, and you have like his muscle is like it just ends there, and you kind of want to have something that is a little more like this instead. This is a little too much in my opinion, but someone can feel free to disagree, and that's fine. Let's see. This part here. Did I have any other comments? No. Okay, this part here also a little bit weird because I don't know what direction the arm is supposed to be, if it's supposed to be straight up like here. But because he's angled this way, the arm is either coming out weirdly, and you wanna, I don't know if you're trying to do, you know, this or this. But I did a fix later on, so I'm gonna show you in a second. And let's see what else. Oh, yes, another thing. Your lighting is very good, however, it still lacks a lot, and I'm sure that this is a work in progress, so there's a lot that it can be improved, but you need more contrast. And what do I mean with contrast? Well, contrast would be, I think it's better if I just grab, I should have found a picture. Portrait. So let me grab, okay. I know the concepts and sometimes it's hard for me to explain. So, okay. So you have this picture, right? Let's go Control U. No, this isn't what I want. Edit, tonal correction, and I want to go with brightness contrast. So look at this. I'm going to pull it all the way. Contrast is just the amount of I can't vocalize it, but when I mean contrast, it's just it could use more dark areas because they need to make contrast with the light areas. Because in this case, for example, you would have, if you wanted to add more contrast to her, you would have darker areas. Let's say the light is coming this way. Light's coming this way. You want to have darker areas here, casting more shadows. The muscle here. You would have more areas here, and then this would be, you know, lighter. So when I mean more contrast, it means basically add. It means just. Where is it? Okay. It means add either darker areas or more light or both. So again, this drawing, the lighting is good, but it needs to be pushed more. It's a little too basic at the moment because this effect, while nice, would benefit more from having darker areas that help it pop out and bring it forward. So let's see some of the corrections that I made. So here we have your body. Here is a structure. In a regular body, I don't know if he's tall or short, but I'm going with regular anatomy. In the rib cage is way too big compared to this area down here. There needs to be a little bit more space between the rib cage and the pelvic area. You're squishing the character too much, and I get that for short stacks, but even with short stacks, the rib cage would be like shorter in order to be more proportionate with the rest of the body. At least in my experience, that's kind of like the observation. The head would be bigger. For example, if you have a short stack, and then this would be bigger, but the face being bigger just gives it more of a short stack appearance. Now, Another thing that you need to notice here. Again, your character looks tall, his face is smaller, his muscles are pretty big, and it looks like his legs are pretty big. When you draw a torso, so the core and then the legs, let's say this is like the belly button, this is the chest, arms. The legs need to be about as long as the core, including the head. In general, on average, everything can vary. This isn't like a written, like a hard set rule, but you want to keep in mind that the ideal body is 7 heads. The regular body, the normal one, is normally 6 heads. They're not like, this is 7, don't worry about it. But in order to not, you know, make a mess. This isn't something that I think about, that I don't really actively think about. It just comes out where I'm looking at my drawing and I'm like, she seems a little too short for the size of her head or whatever, which is something that I struggle with, where I make the head either too big or too small, and it makes the rest of my body look disproportionate. So you want to keep that in mind. So his head size is fine. It's just that your body is a little too scrunched up. And so you want to keep that in mind when you're making your body. Try not to compress them too much, because I've seen some of your girls that look tall, or some of your boys that look tall, but they also seem short at the same time. And that's one of the issues where you would see it in this, where certain parts of the body are not lining up with the way that you should be drawing them. So this is the basic thing that I did, and then I did this. And so this is how weird, this is why it looks kind of weird, because you're looking at it from, in this particular drawing, you're looking at it from sort of like an upper angle, but not high enough where this would be, you know, okay. And so you're getting a really short, you're really compressing the pelvic area instead of like giving it a little bit more space. If we were talking where the angle was like, we're here and he's down here, where it's like this, or even like this, then you could say that the hip could be like that, and then you could justify doing this and whatnot, right? And then you can justify the you know, layering things on top, but it's not. It's almost like you're doing this, right? Where this is bent over and this just is straight. So you need to be careful. And so here, let me show you what I did. So we have your drawing here. I did this. So let's go over it, okay? I'm gonna move this over here. Actually, no. So let me copy this. I'm gonna edit, change canvas size. Okay. So let's see. What have I done here? Well, for starters, I took a look at what you were doing in this area, here especially, and I made it longer so it's like that. Especially here, you can see where the rib cage ends, where you have the fold here, and then the droop, and then the hip bone coming out here, like that, and then the leg. Because remember, the hip bone comes out like this. Think of them as 2 discs that go like that, where the skin would lay over on top. There's no muscle in this area. And then you would have the leg coming out like that. Not always visible from this angle, but it's certainly, like, because he's muscly, it should pop out. So let's see. The butt, he's this one, like he's 3/4 on the bottom, and you're giving him like a butt like that, where if he was more facing this direction, like if his leg was facing more towards the front, then you could justify this a little bit more. Again, because he's muscly, you want to have this part here, maybe a little less this way, and not do this, because this is more if he's facing forward. And we're looking from the top, slightly from the top. What's going on? We're looking slightly from the top, but at a 3/4. So there's more of his butt exposed. And you want less of that. You want less of this and more of the butt on the side. And remember, you have this glute muscle here. This, too flat, the bulge, round it a little more. Obviously, you don't have to do like the way I do it, which is exaggerated on purpose. Give him more of this, because it's a package. This is a little too like that. The abs, you know, because remember, it's like we're looking at it like this. And so, yeah, you have the rib cage here that ends here, like that, and then there. Obviously, these aren't perfect corrections, but this is just something so that you can keep it in mind. Here, I fixed the tangent, not a lot, because this might need a little bit more fixing. So another thing that I could do to fix this tangent, let me copy the layer. You could basically, because the tangent is not like the most important thing, but it is a little bit distracting to me. You could move the arm a little bit. And voila, no tangent. And here, what I did instead of what you had before, which was just a side view like this, this wasn't working for me because I needed to know what direction he's coming, because the arm looks at an awkward position, like what angle is it coming forward? Is it coming to the side? Is it going back? We don't know. So instead, I did a suggestion where it's kind of coming forward, up, and then I added the fold here. And so keep that in mind when you do the arms aren't easy, but you'll get there because you got this pretty good. Another thing that's might need a little bit fixing that I just noticed is that this needs to be a little taller, just ever slightly. This needs to be a little taller, not by a ton, just a little bit like that. Okay, and now I want to zoom in and look at the face. So, let's look at the face here. I'm going to go ahead. So you can see what I did. Good. Okay, here, let me show you. Your face was fine up to a certain extent. However, notice that, again, I mentioned how Okay, here, I wrote some notes. You see how his face is facing forward? You drew some of his body parts. I'm sure that you didn't mean for him to face fully front. I don't know what your actual intention was, but to me it seemed a little more like he was facing a little more forward than the rest of whatever you were trying to do. Instead, because he's not doing this, he's doing this. Look at the nose, look at the mouth, it's straight up in the center. And so this part here needs to be a little bit more like that. So instead, what I did was I pulled this ear out a little more. So let me erase this. So I pulled the, oh, what the fuck? Okay. So I pulled the ears out. Sorry, I'm a mess right now. Okay, so I pulled the ears out. This ear out, I pulled it out more, so it matches a little bit this one. I pulled this one in. Look, you see how everything's leaning this way? I pulled it in. The hair, I moved it this way as well. I moved it so it's more centered. The ears, I put them a little bit more frontal. Again, I'm not sure if you were going for like a phase that's more this way. Rather than straight up front. That was kind of confusing, and so you need to keep in mind when you're doing when you're drawing faces, don't just keep in mind when you do the faces. Do this. You see these guidelines? They're not there for fun. They're there because they help guide which direction the face is going to be. And if it helps, draw the face as a cube. Don't fucking do what I do, which is the cylinder. That doesn't help anybody. Do it as a cube. The cube, or like, you know, like not a cube necessarily, but a fourth dimensional rectangle, where it'll help you define the direction that you're going to be drawing your face. That way you know that your face is going to be in a certain direction, and then you know, okay, it doesn't have to be like this specifically. You can also do this, which is like the cylinder, and let's say that your face is, you know, this line will help you define this way, and so you know that you're going to be doing this. This is more helpful though, because this it helps you understand the volume on the face a little bit better than a cube does, because a cube is like flat. This is better. It's like a folded piece of paper. And it'll help you define the way that you want the face to go. So again, another thing on the face is, this is the old one, right? Okay. Okay. I did some, oh yeah, it was in the lighting. Okay. So let's see what else. Yeah, that's about it. With my corrections in terms of the anatomy. So let's look at the entire thing again, so you kind of get a sense. I'm going to share this PSD with everybody in the server. So if you want to take a crack at it and see what I did and stuff, it's your drawing. So again, let's see what I did. Again, I moved this arm. You know, made it longer here. Moved it down so it doesn't collide. There's still a little bit of tangent, but it's not as much as before. Let's see. Oh, that's the body. So here, short, long. You want him to be a little longer, not so short. That way, his body goes along lines of everything else. And it's still not perfect. There's more, but I try to do it as close to your style as possible, and as more to your understanding of anatomy as possible. So you get a big change in small steps. Let's talk about lighting now. This is your drawing. I'm an idiot and I didn't do the changes properly. But it's easier for me to explain what I did in terms of lighting if I just use your base drawing. So look at this. There's a big difference between this and that, right? There's more contrast. The lighting gives more volume. And this is just, I did it quick as an example, not because this fixes everything. There's a lot more. So let me go into detail. So here, watch. You have a harsh source of lightning coming in this direction. And he's kind of in the shadows, but there's still more source. So you want to give it a more, contrast, darker area here. Same with here to give him more of a volume. And here to give it more of a circle. So you get the bulge there. Here, light, the way light works, I don't know what you're going to do for the background. However, hey Line, I don't know what you're going to do for the background, but keep in mind that light bounces off, and even if he's not getting that much light, you still want to add like a reflection. So say you have some purple background. Light's gonna bounce. So light's gonna hit here, and it's gonna bounce, and it's gonna bounce. And because this is reflective material, even more. This is kind of leathery, so you're gonna have a little bit of the background color there. You see? It doesn't have to be a ton, it just has to be enough to where you get the color. Big difference between flat and not flat. Here, even if this is kind of leathery, you want to add a little bit of this here, because he has muscles, and you want kind of this. I'm doing an exaggeration so you understand where I'm getting at, where he has something like this, right? And you want to denote that he has really strong legs. And you're going to go and do this. This one. I'm going to go and do something like that. It doesn't have to be this dark. It just has to be, this is just an idea that you could do. So you give an idea of the musculature or whatever. Again, you have light here, but this is too harsh for this part. You want to do something like this instead. You need to define well where your light sources are coming from, because if it's from the top, then this is fine, and maybe you want to have a reflection here. But if he's not getting any light from here, then you want to do the bouncing parts. But you have light coming through here, so you would have to have something like this here. In order to make everything kind of blend in together properly. And even here, you go ahead and you just do this. There you go. Okay. Again, I really like the effect that you did on the textures, but this could use a little bit more contrast like that. Because he has really big pecs, and you're not getting enough of that. It's maybe a little bit too much here. And even for here, when you have the folds in clothing is special because when you have something like this, you want to have a really dark fold, so it accentuates the lighter parts. Again, this is just for reference, not 100% perfect. Do your own research. Again, if you have light coming this way, here. Let's see. You have light. Yeah. And even here, like when you have like a harsh area where there's a lot of light, it casts a darker shadow. So you have the arm, you're gonna have like a darker shadow on the hand because the light is pretty harsh, and it'll help bring out the darker part. And if you're gonna have like a light source there, you see? It's just stuff to keep in mind. It doesn't have to be this dark, but it helps. And here, for example, you could have something like that. Okay, let's look at the face. You did good in this part, but this could be more well handled. Because remember, the face is just a series of planes. It helps when you break things down. The face is basically just one plane here, another plane here, another plane here, and another plane here. So it's basically like that. So light hits here, 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 and here kind of differently. This, you're rounding the head a little bit too much. Give it just a little more like that. And blend it slightly. Doesn't that look better? Now, the eyes, the socket of the eyes. So let's say you have a skull. Yeah, so it's lighting zones, exactly. Break it down to the most basic component, because basically a face is just a skull with skin on it. And you have like a skull, right? It's like the most cartoonish skull. But basically, the skull has these big sockets for your eyes. And they're not like just holes. Well, fair. They're like this. And these sockets, they have planes around the eyes. And so each part gets hit differently. And same with this area. This is another plane, this is another plane, yada, 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 yada. And so here, you did a good job at first, but it could have used more, because watch. This is a little too flat. Now, if we add, and this could even be darker, because again, you have a harsh source of lightning coming in from the top, and it casts a bigger, darker shadow. So you want to do a darker color, like this. It doesn't have to be too dark if you don't want, And then you have the light coming in and hitting this part of the eye. And so you want to do the rim here. And do a little bit of light here. Not too much, because it's just like the light bouncing off. The eyes are a little wonky, but you can, let me help you there. I'll leave that for you to take a look at. Another thing, because this is another plane, here, what's going on here? Light also bounces back. Again, you have this going on here, and so you're going to have light coming in this direction here. So light is bouncing here. Keep in mind in these areas, watch. You see how you don't have it there, and you have it, and now I added it, and it adds a little bit more dimension to your face. Also, the nose is more like this. Keep in mind that the nose, this needs to be smaller. It's like this. And so appropriately, you're going to have areas that are lighted like that. No, you're fine, dude. You're good. You're really good. But I want you to push yourself further, because I know you have really good a really good thing going here. Again, if this is water, and you have the light source coming this way, brighter. You need to keep in mind that if you're lighting a certain way, think in 3D. You have to think in 3D when you light things, because you're giving the sense, or you're fooling the eye into thinking there's a 3-dimensional shape that you're looking at in a 2-dimensional space. And so you need to think in 3D when you paint, when you do lighting. Like that. So you got this, you got that. Another helpful tip that not a lot of people pay attention to, sometimes I neglect it. We got lines here. But we have a problem. We have an incredible light source coming in into the arm, and these lines are too thick. How about we make these lines thinner? Ooh. Look at that. Thin lines. Where the light source is coming from. And look better. There's less to look at. The lines are thinner. It gets a sense that light is hitting really harshly in this part. So, word of advice, if you have a light source coming in, if you can do thinner lines, absolutely go for it. And then you can leave the normal regular lines for areas that are darker. Like this. So they pop out more. And then when you have these areas here, you can just do, you can make them really light. Because not everything has to be like a dark hole. See how when you do a certain area with thinner lines, when you have a light source, it helps bring it out. And you have this difference here between a dark area and a lighter area. And you don't even have to do a thick line to define it. You're letting the light do the work. And that's essentially the key to shading and rendering, is letting the light do the work. So you don't have to rely so much on the line. But again, every style is different. And so if your style is basically to block out everything in lines, that's perfectly fine to leave it like that. It's a style thing, but it is a neat trick that not a lot of people do, so you might want to consider it. Also, because light is not coming in from this direction, but up, the shine on your eyes has to be higher, not below. These aren't like, the eye shine aren't like, oh, this is cute eye, I add shine here. No, you want eyes. Okay, another thing that's important to note. Eyes are circles. Eyes are circles. And you have to shade them appropriately. A fix that I would do for this eye, for example, is that you would grab this pen, make it a little more circular, and then add the light source here and here. You do understand the shading part of the eye, that's fine. Like of the actual eye. So, you know, keep in mind when you do the shines for the eyes, where you're, if it was coming from below, I would, yeah, exactly. Eyes make a whole world of a difference. And a lot of people don't know that. If you had the light coming from below, then the shine would be here. But because you have it from above, and then add one here. It looks weird, but it's just me trying to explain this. Also, I should play music. This is too quiet. I'm very, very sorry. I am very, very sorry. Let me play some stuff. I don't know why I forgot to play music. I got like, it's been a hectic day for me. I'm sorry. Okay. But yeah, that's about it. I'm saving this, and then now, but thank you for the submission, Japan. I will share this after the stream, and if you still have questions, you guys want me to get fucking claimed to hell and back, don't you? Okay, Japan, I will share this after the stream, so don't worry. I'm gonna move on to Tony. Hey, Nadi. I'm gonna move on to Tony. So, Tony, this is your drawing. Again, this is Talia from my... Hey, Randy. This is Talia from my game. Thank you so much for drawing her. Oh, I'm glad, Abby, that you find it interesting. Thank you so much for drawing Talia. I'm not gonna, Tony, I'm not gonna be too harsh on you. I know this is, you're, starting out, you're trying to get power through it and learn and stuff. So I'm going to, again, not be harsh on you, but I will teach you. So don't worry. But don't worry about rushing or anything. I'm gonna try and teach you. So let's look at the positives. Positives, good face. It's well defined. Not the direction she should be looking at, but this is good. Appropriate boob ratio. Yeah, she's pretty big, and they're pretty big for her size. A good thing is that you've laid down the foundation for constructing a body. I can tell that you have an understanding that you have to build the body, you have to put the joints and everything. So that's very good. A lot of artists just skip that. Whether it's inexperienced or experienced ones, they tend to skip it, and sometimes they end with wonky anatomy and stuff. So this is a good start. You have an idea of this. Very good. You got the rattle tail right. A lot of people forget that she has a rattle tail. So thank you for that. So overall, for starting out, you're heading in a good direction, but you need some correction. So what are we going to critique? I did a few things. I did a few notes on this. So let's start. So critique. Angle is weird. I know this is a rush sketch, but I'm going to critique it as if you intended for this not to be rushed. Angle is weird. I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking at. Is it from the below or top? It throws off the anatomy, so you're not sure where you're supposed to be drawing the body or in what direction you're supposed to be drawing. None of these look that they go together, but because you weren't sure of the angle that you wanted to draw it in. So that's one thing why geometry is important to learn, because then you understand, because then you can, again, breaking things down to the most basic components. It'll help you build a body that's more accurate to the angle that you're working with, even if it's not 100% accurate anatomically, where you might be messing up a skin fold or two, but you still will get the proper angle that you're supposed to have. And it'll, keep, so, it's important to understand geometry and the way that you're supposed to be doing. The face obviously could use some improvements. She's not looking in the direction that she should be looking. She's looking to the side, but you drew some features. The same with Japan. He drew some features in an angle or in a direction that wasn't really the direction that the face is structured in. So you need to work on that. Scratchy lines, you need to nip that in the bud. You need to start working on that. But we'll go over that again. You're defining things too much or things too literally because you know that here is a muscle. And so you drew it this way where like, oh, the muscle is here, so I'm going to draw it. And that's not the way muscles or things appear to be in real life. And this is too much of a definition where it messes up the rest of the arm. Here, the same thing. And so these are things to keep in mind. Shoulders are weird, but we're going to work through this. Okay? Let's see. Okay. So here's an image. It's not the same angle, but it's the same idea that you were going for. I think at least. Where she's lying in this direction, and you have this part like that, and so you have the thighs or whatever like that, and so here's one important thing that you're going to start practicing over and over and over again. Line of action. Why is a line of action important? Let me put that here. Line of action. A line of action will tell you the direction where the shoulders are. I will tell you a neat trick that I learned watching a bunch of videos. Line of action will help you define the direction in which your drawing is sort of going to go. So you have this. You start with the head, you start with the shoulders, and then the hip, because this is the most important part of the body. And you have to keep in mind, you can even do 3, because you need to keep in mind that the torso is like a square, more like an oval really, but it's a square, and you can't really bend you can't really bend the chest or the rib cage area. So this is just static. So you have that, and then you have this. And see how what I did here, where I defined the line of action, and it helped me get the idea. Now, how do I practice line of action? So let me show you. Okay, let me do this. Let's do this. I'm gonna grab all right, we have this. I go ahead, I block out the head. Now, the body is an S curve. So you have the head, right? If we look at the body at the side, your spine is more of an S than it is like a straight line. And it can contort in different ways. So your spine can bend forward like that, and it can bend backwards, not a ton, but it can bend backwards like that. And so right? Now, in this pose, we define the shoulders. So her shoulders are like this, right? You don't have to curve it. For learning purposes, you have the line here. Where is her hip? Or where are the legs? You have it here, right? So, here. Now, the line of action comes out from the neck. Pretty much. Because your spine is attached to your neck, or to the head from the neck, and then down, right? So, because her head is twisted, right, but the pose is facing forward, like that. She's bending a little bit forward. And then you have this, this, this. Right? Here, we have the head. How do we shorten this out? Well, when you compress something, it bends, right? So, in this case, it bends a little bit. Not a ton, but it bends a little bit. Enough so you have that. And then you have these features. Right? Now, here. Her face is like that. And then her. Now, remember how I said that the column is an S. It's not a straight S when you draw. It can be segmented. So you got this, and then you got this. Let's do it again. You got the ribcage area bending forward like that, but because her hips twist like that, and it helps us understand, you know, here, this is easy. You have the face here. And this is pretty good for understanding the line of action. Comes from her back. Single motion from her back. And then it arches a little bit because the spine stops here. There you go. One more. So we can move on. I can already see shoulders here. There's a really good video. Yeah, okay, before you start getting into like actually drawing really good anatomy, this is important. You need to be doing 30 minutes of this every day for at least maybe 2 to 3 weeks until when you look at a drawing, like you don't even have to think about it. You're like, oh, okay, this is a line of action where like it's coming out automatically. You don't even have to think about it too much. I want you to start doing this a lot. It helps you get a grasp of the line of action. And then once you get really good, or like you understand line of action, then you can start exaggerating things a lot more. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. Okay. All right, let's move on. So yeah, again, look up, my recommendation is, there is a good video by Proco. You can look him up on YouTube on line of action. Go ahead and look it up. Keep it on a tab open. I'll wait. I'll wait. Do it right now. Open a new tab, go to YouTube, look up Proco, and look up line of action. It's a very good video, and these ones on YouTube are 5 minutes or something like that. He explains it thoroughly, and do those exercises. Trust me, do those as often as you can. I need to do those. These you can never stop doing. Obviously, you're not going to do it every day. Because you want to vary it up. You want to do figure drawing, you want to do different things, but it's important that you, as a beginner, do these often, because it'll help you do 3 things. One, it'll help you do 3 things. Here. 1. Understand anatomy. 2, it'll help you make characters less blocky. So these are 2 important things that line of action will help you. It'll help you understand anatomy because you will understand how the body contorts, how the spine works with the rest of the body. This is just like specifically for human characters, because once you get the understanding, you can play around. Like if you have a Lamia girl, or like you can play a lot with it once you have a basic understanding of how things work. And number 2, it'll help you make your characters look less blocky. So if you have like characters that are bending and contorting, they will feel less stiff because you know how the line of action works. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so back to Tony. So I started figuring out what you were trying to do, and I've sort of figured out something that we could be doing. You know, I put the body this way and this way. Okay. And here. Where is it? Damn it. Okay. So this is what I started doing. So this is what I started doing. You see how I started building? Here's another important thing. When you're looking at anatomy, because the way that we're angling it, notice here the fold on her skin. It's like that, and then this. If you twist a towel, right? If you twist a towel, you will get this, like that, and then this. It's the same principle when you twist the body or it's contorting. This line is sort of dying, but because we're twisting it in the other direction, yeah, this line is dying here, and this one is like that. And so we got this, but because we're looking at it from below, it looks like this. So keep that in mind. No. Okay. What did I do here? Okay. Finally, I started assembling the body. Watch how I layered the character on top, like this. We got this part here. The boobs are stacked on each other because gravity is pushing them this way. And so they should be stacked like this. And I did just I grabbed the 3D model just to take a look after I did the drawing. And even then it's not 100% perfect because we're missing the arm here, but you start to get an idea. And so here's some things that even I could fix. We got this like that. We got this. You need to start thinking in 3D. Again, this is the importance of squares, cubes, circles, and even cylinders. A cylinder here, for example, will help you understand that you're going for a circle. And then it'll help you define, okay, so it's going down, and then it's coming up. And here, for example, it helped me get this. Okay. And so, yeah, you see? Don't pay attention to this part, but yeah. Now let's take a look at the face. Again, the angle that you're coming at is from top. So we're kind of looking at from the top like that, from, you know. So we're like here, and she's just like, and we're kind of looking at her like that. The way you drew her head is, again, a problem with the angle. It's like she's in front, but her body is in a different angle. So this comes with trying to figure out an angle and stuff. And so it's important when you start blocking out a character or a scene is where is the viewer looking from? Is the viewer looking from the top, from the bottom, from the side? You need to think about these things. And so what I did with the face is that she should actually be looking like this. Her eyes need to be down here with the mouth. Because it's from top down. So here's what I did. It's not perfect, obviously, but what I did is I lowered her head. You can see more of the top here. You can see more of the top of her head. This like that, the horns. Let me change the color. You can see more of the horns. And here's a neat trick that I learned when drawing heads at like different heights. When looking straight, notice how the ears are kind of level with the eyes. But if you're looking from above, the ears are kind of like they move here. They're not moving up, they're moving back. Because the head is shaped like this. And so all it's doing is just pushing. The angle is giving the impression that it's moving up, but it's actually just moving back. Because this is moving forward as you're looking up, and this is just going back. And when you look from below, the ears go. I mean, this isn't like accurate, but it's like a neat little chart that I learned. The eyes go up and the ears go down. Theoretically, but it's actually that they're just going back and this is just going up. Because the face, again, is like that. And basically, a skull. Right? So keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, again, this will be available to you once I finish the stream. But keep that in mind moving forward. You need to start practicing line of action. This will help you line of action and geometry, because you need to start figuring out how to angle your drawings, how to stack things on top. Because if you understand how geometry, line of action, everything works, you can actually look at a drawing and be okay. Okay, you can watch it later. You're gonna understand that even though the legs aren't perfect, the butt isn't a perfect circle, you understand that this is what's gonna look like, and you can better figure things out. And these are cylinders, and it helps you define things better. And then this is a circle. And again, it's important to break down things. Yeah, Loomis is great. Loomis is a great resource. Again, breaking things down to their most basic components helps a lot in the long run. If you're stuck at like a drawing, just go like, okay, well, let's go back. Let's start. Okay, I'm gonna draw, the head as a square or like whatever. Okay, so the body is, let's draw it as a rectangular cube. So this part is dark, this part is dark, just, in reference to where the light's gonna hit. You have the line of action, you have this. So, like that. Dark. You see, it's not that scary. once you get used to learning how to block things out, shit just gets easier. Not like easy, just it gets easier. So start learning about geometry, start learning about line of action, and learn to just simplify shapes. And then you can start to get the meat and potatoes of like figure drawing. So overall, you know, good quick sketch, but you know, keep at it and you got it. Okay, just keep working with those shapes, keep learning those lines of actions. Do your warm-ups every day, 30 minutes if you can spare them. Learn of action. Watch Proco's videos on line of action, on figure drawing, gesture drawing. Those will help you a lot in the long run. Because the more you look at poses, the more you visually try to break them down with line of action or breaking them down in geometry, you start to understand the way anatomy works. And then when you start drawing things over and over and over again, and you keep practicing, you keep building a visual library in your head. Then when you draw out of memory, which you don't have to, it's always good to have references. I use references. Then you know, you can get more accurately your drawings more accurately, and you can draw things out of memory more easily without having to stop and check or get everything wonky or like not, you know, realizing something isn't working. So overall, keep at it. Again, I will share this PSD later. Next up is my friend Lucho. He wanted me to check this, but he was more specific about lighting. And like Japan, we got a harsh light source, but I'm gonna go with the positives first. I didn't have time to write notes for this piece and Iñárritu's piece, so I'm gonna do my best. Okay, I love the background, so I'm gonna go ahead and just positives. I love the background. Very good. I like the wave effects. It's all very good. The sand, it's very nice. Honestly, could be pushed further, but we're not going to go into that. I like the character. She's really cute. Well, not cute, hot. There's very good intentions. I like the hair, the smug face. You know, I'm not very good at furries, but this is very good. I like the horns. Let's see. Yeah, very good on the legs, on the arms. This leg in particular is very good. So is his hand. This is very good. So overall, good anatomy, not perfect, but very good. Good CD, good character design. Yeah, just very beachy. Now, critique. Okay, so this leg is wonky. This leg is wonky. So it needs a little bit more work. But that's neither here nor there. You weren't asking me about that. This part is kind of it needs work. This here. These are weird. The shoulders are weird. Not entirely. It's just this here. You're thinking about how the arm connects instead of just drawing it. And I'll show you in a second. This needs to pop out more. This here could use more of this. So you're not using the fat enough. This leg, I don't know what direction you're going for here, because let me teach you something. You're going, I'm actually gonna duplicate the layer. You're doing this, right? But this is like that. So it's angled weirdly. It's not like this, because she is like this. But it's not like she's like this, right? Her spine is bent this way. So her butt cheeks are coming out a little too much, I think. So that's another thing that you need to keep in mind. In terms of lighting, this isn't lighted, so we're gonna have fun here. Yeah, the arm here is too long compared to this one. You have an arm that's length, and it's like you have this, and then this, and then this. Compared to that. But again, we're not here to criticize anatomy. This can be done at the end if you want me to. I'm gonna focus on the lighting because. All right, so let's move on to the lighting. Take the base drawing. I'm gonna move it up here, and I am going to paint. So overall, actually, let's do multiply. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. I'm gonna grab that. Lights, okay. First I need to define the light source, so let's go ahead and... Light's coming in from this way, right? And this is harsh lighting because she's out, it's super sunny, so we're gonna need a lot of contrast. So, let's go ahead, pick this. Let's go ahead and just do... basic blocking. You wanted me to teach you how to draw feet? I don't know if I'll have time. I have something to do right after the I finish with critiquing everybody. And here's what I can do. I'm not very good at feet. But I can try and record something. So let's see here. Okay. All right, I got 20 more minutes, so I'll try to make this brief. Okay, so watch here. Okay, 1 second. Use this. So here, where you see you want to have skin indentation here, where the boob gets pressed on by the bikini, and you want to have the bikini like kind of have its own weight with the boob, right? You also want to have this here. Let's see. I'm just gonna try to make this as simple as I can so you can kind of understand. Okay, so when you go and color this, so I'm gonna do add. You want to take into account that this is harsh lighting. So as you're gonna have harsh areas where the light is coming in. Apologies if this looks weird. So you're gonna go ahead and this a little bit. Now, another important thing to note here. Sorry that I'm rushing through this. I didn't mean to. It's just something like you're gonna wanna go ahead. Where is it? Okay, and add darker areas, more contrast in certain areas, because remember this, you have harsh lighting here, and so you want to reflect that, including in this part here. Down here. Here. Again, you want to give more contrast because you have an area with a lot of lighting. So you have that, you have this. Again, I'm just simplifying things in a way that it doesn't make... It's just to show what I my thought process, really, not how I actually render. Yeah, no, I have to leave soon, so. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna try and explain this a little bit. It looks weird now, but that's not my intention. Okay. Bear in mind that because the light is strong here, you're gonna have areas with harsh lighting, but also darker shadows. So you need to increase the contrast when you're shading in order for things to look nice. What I'm going to do is, Lucho, I will make it up to you, and same to you, Iñani. I'm going to, because Iñani submitted this, and they wanted lighting stuff. So what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna go tend to what I need to do, and I'm going to not stream, but record some of the stuff that I'm fixing, and then I'm going to send the respective images, because I have to really go. I have something prescient that came up, so I'll be back in recorded form, and yeah, apology guys. So let me walk you all outside because I need to go do this really quick, and it's important. It's family stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. Whoa! What's happening here? Okay, everyone, thank you for hanging out. I'll see you guys next stream, and I keep in mind, I'll share the files later. Sorry for leaving in a rush, but I have to do this. Sorry, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out.